welcome back to another epic season of My Story. I'm your host, Loli Chapi, and today it's gonna be a remarkable one. We'll be bringing you different faces. You might have met them in different fields, humanitarian workers, and of course, they've been doing a very remarkable works out there. Have you heard of the quote that the generation or the future is female? Oh, yes. Welcome to this season whereby we'll be talking about women. We'll be talking about stories that are going to be told by remarkable women, incredible women, resilient women. And with me in the studio is one remarkable woman. She is the team leader of Mama Rasakit. Her story is as well inspiring. I am so excited to be having Jackie Ben with me in the studio. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
You're looking good.
Thank you.
You should have warned me so that I can also come with my Mundari
Next
attire.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm called Jackie Ben.
Yes.
I am the team lead at Mama Resakit Village, at least for a few listeners to hear about me. I am a graduate from the Catholic University of South Sudan, affiliate of Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Nairobi. I did peace and conflict studies, that's arts and humanity. So I have a bachelor degree in peace and conflict studies. I am also a young woman politician. I belong to a political party. I am also a member of the International Center for Human Rights and Development in Africa, a network for young women who are mediators, like peace practitioners and conflict resolution. I am also a yearly alumni of the Young African Leadership Initiative. If any of us knows about Yali, yeah. So that's basically about who I am.
Exciting. And how did we get to this all? How did it start?
Okay.
Yes.
I will be happy to share my journey. So I think what I can remember so well about my journey goes back to my primary school. But
Yes.
even before my primary school, where I existed at the family level. So I am the third last born in my family. My mom and dad, I am not raised in a polygamous family. My dad and my mom they're the only parents that I had, and we are 10. Okay.
From your mom and dad.
Yes,
Your
from
dad.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. So from my mom and dad, we are 10 of us.
Wow.
8 girls and 2 boys.
Wow.
So I am the third last. I have 2 siblings that followed me.
So how was it growing up with only 2 boys and 8 girls? I felt like the equation wasn't balanced. Are they
Yeah.
the last borns or the first borns?
The boys?
Yes.
No. The firstborn obviously was the boy. And then the fifth born a boy.
Yes.
So the rest of us are girls. But I am still happy that as siblings, as younger ones, we had the opportunity to be nurtured by our brother. Because you know how our African society structures, even South Sudanese,
Yes.
like the elderly person somehow take care of the younger people. So I am one of those, kids that was nurtured and taken care of by my
By your
brother.
brother.
Yeah. So my brother at some point could really walk in the shoe of my mom in my mom's absence. He could shower us, prepare us, take us to school, and things like those.
Yes.
Yeah. And he was, of course, the elderly person in the house, so he also helped, do a lot of things that keep the house going in my mom's and dad's absence. And, of course, I was born in the camp, in the refugee camp in Biali,
Okay.
during the Anyanya and stuff. My mom is not a young woman. She's already in her, I think, early 70s. Yeah.
Wow.
So when they ran from South Sudan to Uganda, and that's how some of us were also, given birth to in the camp. And then coming from such a big family, and we already have sisters and also at least a brother who is elderly. Some of us, kind of also being taken care of by the elderly one who are in the line, like my sisters, my brothers. So I started my journey so well that I could remember when I was in Biali at the camp, we could go to a school called Panyadoli.
Okay.
Primary school. So in 27, we came back to South Sudan, where I settled in Torit, where my elder brother already have a home, because by that time he was already married. So I came to Torrid in 2007, and I joined Torrid Primary School. And then in the third term, so I came
So
to...
you didn't complete your studies in the refugee camp.
No.
You came back.
Yeah, I came
Yeah.
back to South Sudan.
You came when the political instability had already
Yeah, I
calmed
think
down.
2007,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah,
It was calm.
yeah, 2007, 2008,
Eight.
people were already coming
Back. Yeah.
And by that time, I was still a young kid, a young
True.
girl. Yeah. So my brother came earlier to South Sudan and left. So he came, to organize where we can be home and stuff. So he went back to bring us. So when I was in Torrid, I think in 2007, I was in primary 4, but still a very tiny young kid. So I came and studied first term, second term, third term in Torrid. But my sister, our second born is a girl. So my sister was working in one of the schools. I think many of us might know. It's a religious school, a Catholic school called Bakita, Saint Bakita.
Yes.
So Saint Bakita, the branch in Eastern Equatoria, the Narus branch. If any of you knows of Narus, the eastern side of South Sudan is a Toposa dominated land. So my sister was teaching there, our second born, my mom's second born. So she was teaching there, and I had to now move from Torrid to Kapoita, to Narus, Eastern Equatoria, where now I was again taken back to primary 4 because I came before my results. So that's how I began to start. And Bakita was and still is a single school. It's a girls' school.
All right.
Yeah. So I joined Bakita Primary in primary 4 in 2007. And I really love the space because they're only girls. And in our home, majority of us are also girls.
So you felt like it's kind of a similar, it's home.
It's home for me. So I started...
But the fact that you being nurtured by a brother, didn't you actually feel like you already had enough privilege at home with the girls? Maybe you needed a mix up of...
that did not cross my mind.
Yes.
Because my brother he was the only boy by that time.
Yes.
That used to take care of us, and he's also a busy person. So some of the siblings that we always mingle around with, especially at family level, are all girls. Yeah. So like me also, I feel so comfortable among girls.
All right.
Yeah. So when I came to Bakita, it's a girls' school. It's a Catholic school. My parents all are Catholic. My dad and my mom are Catholic. We go to Catholic church.
Yes.
So for me, Bakita was home. So I've been to Bakita for 8 years, I think 6 years, but also now in the line where I began to get used to the environment. And when I was in primary 6 and primary 7, I served as the head girl of the school by then. And then I went to Bakita Secondary after my primary 8. And then, of course, I did so well in my primary 8. I won a scholarship by South Sudan Council of Church.
Wow.
Yeah. And then they sponsored me in Bakita Secondary. Bakita Secondary is also a single school. Yes.
All right. So, okay.
Yeah.
So the journey is from a single sex school to another single sex school. So should we say you've never been in a mixed school?
At the university, yes.
All right, at the university level. But during your high school and the primary school, it
All
was...
single.
All right. So what are the certain things that you learned from these single-sex schools? Because we have had different stories of people actually saying that, single-sex schools shouldn't actually be there because they... let me hear your story first.
I have no negative experience of single school, but at some point also now growing up, I began to see the importance of, being also in a mixed school.
Yes.
How, you begin to grow and learn at certain things, and also how to, you can relate better with your peers who are not like girls.
Yes.
Only. But when I was in primary and secondary, I basically, because that's all I had, like only single school, and all my peers, my friends were girls. So for me, it was home first, and then there was no sense of feeling insecure. I don't feel I am judged because we are all girls. It's really like sisterhood. So I did not have, because I had no experience of being in a mixed
school, yes.
So it never crossed my mind how it is, but for me, I was just feeling comfortable.
So you were comfortable.
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Even though they had said you should go to a mixed school, you would not actually want to be around such an environment.
And also the norms, because all these are Catholic schools. I am a Catholic. My parents also introduced me. So everything that happens in that institutions makes me feel home. How we live our lives, it's like more of a, some people make joke of it and like Catholics live a program life.
Yeah.
And to some extent, I would really admit, because like our lives are programmed even in school, what time you get to
What do you
class.
mean your lives are programmed?
Life are programmed, like you don't do anything out of plan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you don't do, starting from the boarding, actually I started in a boarding school also all through from my primary and then secondary, we were just in the boarding school. So when I
Yes.
say the life is programmed, is like there's fixed times for everything. You cannot just operate randomly.
Outside the circle.
Yeah, outside the circle. So if it is church, the church is not a far distance.
It's within the same premises.
No, it's not within the same premises. We used to go and pray outside.
But it's not that too
It's
far.
not too far, but we have hospital inside the school. We also have, you know, a place where sometimes you can go and watch movie, a movie lab on a Friday. Like everything was inside. So when I go to school, I know I'm not coming out and I'm not complaining. Of course, there were visiting days where parents can come in and stuff. So that also contributed to a bigger part of me that literally also affect me when I was in university. Because my circle and how I
Changed.
plan my things, how I am being nurtured and socialized. Because like in the boarding school, you need to wake up at 6, you need to do this. At 7, you go for morning prayers, and then you go for classes, you go for break, come back to class. After class, you go for evening prayers. Like prayers and studies are one thing. And then in between also the timetables of the school, there are times where you need to be in the library. You cannot be anywhere, anytime. So that contributed to
It has to be within the program.
Yes. And at some point also, because I loved, you know, how things are done. One of the sisters, may her soul rest in peace, she's called Sister Edwin, became a very bigger part of me. Because by the time I joined Bakita, I was a young kid, and each time my elder sister could worry about me. So that
Why was she worried?
Nobody's in that place, like
She
you are
felt like
far.
yes, okay.
So that sister somehow kind of adapted me now that my parents are not within. So at some point I can go live in the convent. And you know, also in the convent, it's another program schedules. Like after lunch, literally, you need to go. Everybody goes to their room, and it is total silent after lunch.
Huh?
Yes.
Wait, share more about that. After lunch, everybody goes
Of
to
course,
their
you wake
room,
up
and
in
it's
the-
why is it total silence?
Like you need to meditate, reflect, rest at that time. That's how it's being structured.
For how many hours?
2 hours, of course.
You need to be silent.
Yeah, you need to be inside. Like the place is quiet,
But you can
so
choose
you
to
can be
sleep.
Sleeping, you
Oh.
can, you
All
can be
right.
sleeping in your room. You can be doing your things, but you do not need to disturb. So the place is quiet because everybody is.
Is that a daily thing, like a normal?
It's every day. Yeah, it's every day.
So when do you go for lunch?
So, of course, you eat at 12, and then you go from 1 to 2. You wake up at 3, refresh, and then sometimes you go to the garden. There are fruits around you can pick. If there are no seasons for fruit, we, you know, work like help this make the rosary,
handcrafts and all that,
rosary things, stuff like that. And then in the evening we go in the chapel for evening prayers. I love that life.
Interesting.
So somehow it also affected me because at the family level, I've not been with my family for very long. You know, school.
Yes.
Yeah. So at some point, even when I am home, when it reaches that time of like, especially after lunch, I don't need anybody. So I go inside and lock myself. Like I am an indoor person. So I learned to prioritize myself. Sometimes it looks selfish because
Someone will be like, why is she hiding? Why
is
doesn't she
hiding?
want
But
to
I am
associate?
really an indoor person. I do everything in my room. Even now in Juba, when I'm done from things outside, maybe working in the kitchen, even when I'm in the kitchen cooking, I locked myself. So I come out when the things are ready, I'm putting them on
Wait
the
a
table.
minute. That's too much now. That's too much now.
Like I still struggle even today at workplace. Like I don't want the office to be open at some point. Like when we get into the office, just to lock the door, and I do everything. So I am still struggling with this, but it's already like part of me, an indoor person. And
But do you feel sometimes that you ever regretted a time that you feel like maybe you should not have gone to the single sex school, Or maybe this programming wasn't, or maybe you will not be facing such difficulties right now.
I have not regretted. Really, I would not say a regret, but I think I just need to, work out a little bit more,
Yes.
to meet and also, but it's something that I don't see it's very easy to do because I am not used. You see, when you're trying to unlearn something after a very long
Yes,
time,
yes, yes. You're trying to cope up with
you're trying
it.
to cope up with the situation. So really, like being born in a majority of, a family that is girls coming to girls' schools, primary, secondary, I think that's about 12 or 11 years, being in a single school and then now gradually coming out to the world. And that's, I think, the
Yeah.
university where I now begin to, because all through, of course, there are a lot of leadership things within the schools. I remember when I was the head girl in primary for 2 years, I was also leading a journalism club.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually wanted to become a journalist, but yeah, never worked like that. I do it as,
But you'd make a good one.
passion, as a
Yes.
passion job.
Yes.
And when I was also in secondary, I do news reading. We prepare news, those kind of leadership things. And when I also got to the university, I got myself into such clubs, in, like Peace Club, because now it's in line with what I studied. And then, clubs like journalism club still at the university, I was also a part of that. But now in the university, there are also men,
Yeah.
boys.
So it's a
And
mixed.
It's a mixed school.
Yes.
And also, shockingly, these are men who are sometimes not of your age. You see, like, university collects everybody.
True.
So the class where we were, majority are men, and some of them, okay, there were also some gents around youth, but there was also some elderly people. So that environment is not something that
You're used to.
I am used to. So it was really hard to begin to cope up with,
And then the fact that you're coping up with in a mixed.
in a mixed school.
There is old, there is young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was in, let me say, overlapping identities, because there are now multiple identities inside, and you are this person that just came in, you have never experienced, you do not know. And by the way, it's very sweet to be sometimes in a single school. I also regretted that space because you can be so free, like so free on how, sometimes maybe how you dress, how you carry yourself around, because it's only you. You think it's somehow you look selfish, but you're giving your time to yourself.
I was going to say that. You look selfish indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now here you are expected to behave in a certain way, and also how our cultures teaches us. As a girl child, you're supposed not to expose yourself. When you're living with men, there is a way that also men relate to you, and there are ways that also men do not want a lady that talk in a certain way. You see also that perception of a patriarchal concept and how
Yes.
you look at a woman. And also one thing that I've learned, by the way, and it was affecting my life at the university, I have seen that men do not trust women in terms of competence, excellency. Yeah, I graduated with a first class honor. And I
Wow.
was the only
Congrats.
one from my class. And then you will see that sometimes men would think that, okay, if a lady performs, they perceive you as a man, because I remember where I am sometimes being.
Or maybe there's something you did with the lecturer.
Maybe there's something you're doing with the lecturer, but still also, thank God, most of our lecturers are elderly people, and then these are priests. Majority are also sisters. So however much that happens, still people find ways around to begin to accuse you. Yet clearly you can even see, because university is very practical.
True.
If you are a man, for example, that wants to blame me for good performance, you cannot even present. You cannot do your homework well. You cannot prepare, you cannot prepare assignment, you cannot prepare PowerPoints for presentation. And when a lady that you see does that, performs, you still want to. You see, it's also taught me how insecure a man or men sometimes begin to feel when they see a very sharp lady.
Okay.
I experienced that. It was a shock, because at some point you're being accused of doing things that you're not doing, and you're doing your best, and you're doing your best, because like we are all in this class. I know the kind of assignment, I know how we show up, and I'm happy, at least at the university level, a lot of things are very practical. Also, if it comes to research, maybe you need to defend your research, and it's really like you need to be yourself. You cannot pretend that, okay, maybe you're helped somewhere and there.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot. I've never experienced that so well when I was in my primary, secondary school. Yeah,
Have you ever actually confronted, like, being in a scenario whereby you had to, like, have a fight with a boy at school, or maybe a male student, over something, and they really wanted to let you down, like to undermine you? Is there any scenario like that at the university?
I would not call it a fight, but it's because when I got to the university, I was already self-aware. I am an adult. I read books. I know things. I somehow already know how men could behave to ladies. But
you read
one thing that I've
Yes.
learned from men, one thing that I've learned, I don't hate men because I have brothers who are men. My father
You
is
are
a
mentored
man.
by,
like you know, I don't take anything personal, but these are real realities of life. So at the university, my experience, when a man or a boy child sees you very competent, how you do your things, you score good, nice A's in your certificate. So the way that they come around, maybe try to date you, because you see, love and education, these are two different things.
True.
There are people who bury their focus just because they're in love with somebody. That's one mistake that I have never done. I cannot date my classmate. Like, what are you telling me?
So you didn't date
Yeah.
during your
So most
university?
Of the approach, yes, I do not date from my university, not even my class.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I see that is one thing of how you can get distracted. Though some people that also are very principled can manage it around, but for me it was a red flag. I cannot.
Because you were so focused.
Yeah, I was so focused. I cannot date my classmate. But believe me, you at least majority of the young men in that class would try, to befriend you in a certain way. You see how they flatter you, they make you look like, and then just to shift your attention. I was not in for that. So somehow they also begin to nickname you, Yani. There's a kind of perception when you're very conservative and you're very principled, they think you're not a lady.
Oh.
Yeah, you reason like a man, like, why do you behave like a man? You have a heart of a...
So they used to tell you that?
Yeah, like you behave like a man. You see?
So have you ever questioned them? Why do they say you behave like a man?
Of course, even if you question them, obviously they will tell
It's
you
because
you are tough. You see how men
Yes,
associate
yes.
themselves. Somebody who is tough, somebody who
Is a man.
Is a man. You know how they associate that with manhood? Doesn't make sense at some point because that's the negative masculinity perception. Yeah, so at some point you're being perceived in that manner. I experienced that in my university, but at the end, I know where they're arriving from, and it was not really a shock because I am focused, and because when you're going forward, wanting what you want to get it the right way, there are always, backlashes. And there's also that mentality when a man sees, a very intelligent person, they feel intimidated. There's a way. It's better a man like him gets that grade compared to a lady. I have seen that though.
Okay.
Because I have faced narrative where I am being accused. There was one guy that was telling me, obviously I don't take jokes from men. Like me and jokes from men, I don't take it. Because most of the things...
Even if it's a joke.
Because sometimes there are things that men communicate in a joking manner, but they really mean it. You see how also men take advantage of your loving heart because women are cute. A woman is cute, is soft.
Soft,
and
yes.
then they see we love to be sweet talk. When I call you certain name, maybe babe and stuff, and then you begin to, we are human beings. So sometimes those words are used to flatter and to shift your attention to make you feel in a certain way, and then they find their ways around. Okay. So when I say I don't take jokes from men, it's actually meaning also there are things that they will intend to communicate in a joking manner, but that's the reality.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, at least that's my encounter. But with men in the university, I've never been so close to men in my primary school. But yeah, at the end, you can become friends. Now when they see that they know we are, they still are some very, very good men that you can have discussion. I had group discussion where we have boys, we can, plan even over the weekend, go back to the university and do things, do assignment, have group discussion. Yeah. There are also people that somehow understand.
All right. So now let's look into your journey.
Yeah.
Into to becoming the team leader of Mamara Circuit.
Yeah.
a feminist-led organization. How did you get there?
Yeah.
Because now clearly I can now see. I
Yeah.
now know
Yeah.
exactly how it all started.
Yeah. So I love myself, and also being raised in a family that majority of us are girls, I see there's a lot of value on a girl child. That somehow shifted my attention. I did not focus much on men though, and also giving my socialization, how I have been socialized and brought up even in my studies now that I've mentioned in single schools. I think it also contributed, but one of the biggest things that also contributed is the society where I studied. I studied in Kapoita East. Those people are cattle keepers. The Toposa people of South Sudan are cattle keepers.
Yes.
There's a lot of abuse that comes with that in terms of issues of marriages. I saw there was a friend of mine that was taken from the classroom to go marry, like given to an elderly guy of his 60s, and she was 16, I think. Okay, so I grew up with that trauma. I've seen how
you had so much resentment.
Yeah, I had really, yes, I could say that, because I see potential friends that we could be. Their narrative where parents will come to the school looking for their daughters with the gun. Then the administration cannot do anything. But I've not seen a boy child in Komboni, because Komboni is a boys' school. I've not, come across a narrative where a boy child is being plucked. So that is stuck in my brain. I have seen how women are being tortured and how they're being labored. By the way, the women build, the women deliver, the women look for food. Men will go with their akicholong, sit under the tree and look after their cattle. That's all they do. And when they come home, there's this culture where when the woman prepares food, so the man eats first. Whatever remains,
the woman will eat from that.
Given to the children. Though it is changing this time, somehow, especially among a few that have gone to school, the narrative is kind of changing. But I also had really traumatic, situation that I witnessed when my friends are taken from school, given up. There are others who will go because others really want to be in school. So there are others who will do attempt suicide, just because
they don't want to be taken away.
Yeah. So we have seen young women who are in marriages that they are not comfortable. You cannot divorce. Even if you're beaten by your husband to the level of death, even if you run to your parents' home, since cows are already being paid, that will also bring us to dowry issues.
Yes.
The dowries that they cannot return, you are taken back to that house.
Yes.
Like literally they feel there's a certain way of disciplining a woman. To make a woman listen, there's a certain way. So it was a shift for me, really, because I have not seen abusive men. I've never seen my mom and my dad fight. And also, I've grown up seeing my brother take care of us. And he's a man.
Yes.
Today, he's taking care of his kids. My brother is already in his 40s. He's taking care of his kids. He could take kids to the clinic, take care of his kids. And also, he's having more girls than boys. I think my brother is having 4 girls and 2 boys.
Wow.
Yeah? So I have never experienced that. Then I was also having conflicting ideas. Is it wrong to be a woman in certain culture or maybe in certain context? Is it wrong to be a girl child?
Yes.
Because why is it happening to me because of my gender, for example? So that in me, triggered, and then I began to ask my elderly sisters and
your
brothers.
peers, yeah.
I started from home. I said, now I want to go to the university. What can I study? I have this problem and I feel like this is something that I can do. I actually wanted to do journalism, but I was also discouraged from that. Journalism is not a safe work. You'll be exposed to a lot of things. You are not safe. And by that time, when I was having that conversation, it was a time, I think Bakita or somebody was shot in Juba, a journalist that was shot. So there was also a lot of misconception about, being a media person. But that did not take the passion away. I love journalism things.
Because you communicate.
I communicate, and then I want to be heard. I want to reach out. It never kept me back now that I did not, because I also mentioned that I worked as a radio host on the Gender Talk, one of our program. So I grew up with certain feeling of trying to solve certain problems because I have seen what is happening. So the best advice that I got from my brother, and he guided me, he told me, peace and conflict studies is good because it covers a lot of things within.
Yes.
Of course, when I was also in school, I began to realize, there's gender issues in peace and conflict there is governance issues, there is peace building issues, there is also feminism. We also learned of feminism theory, there are ethics, a lot of things is covered between peace and conflict studies. So when I began to have this passion and also of working for women and girls, like trying to look for a solution, it was through a friend that was already working for Mamara Circuit. And also being a youth, I think attended one of the event here in Juba when I was still in school at the university. So it was organized, I think, by Orange South Sudan at Boabab.
Yeah.
And Mamara Circuit was launching one of its research, and there were people on a panel. Me and talking, we cannot be separated.
You always have an opinion.
I always talk. When I have something to say, I will go for it. So I don't care who is next to me or not. So when I went for that event, the discussion was very good. The research was done around, women contribution and stuff. So the conversation really picked up so well. They were sharing things about, gender issues, gender roles, and how that affects. I really got so interested in the conversation. So during the sessions, where now the Q&A sessions, where everybody, because I just went to attend.
Yeah. That's where now you got the opportunity.
Yeah, that's where I got the opportunity, because when I was articulating myself, I actually had a question and I was trying to comment. So one of the team members from Mamara Circuit Village, I think, fall for my way of doing things. She's called Eva Lopa. She's actually my mentor.
Yes. She's the host of Gender Talk. Yes, all right.
So Eva Lopa reached out to me at some point, and then she was like, Jackie, I saw you during the event and how you were, presenting yourself, articulating and, doing things. I really love your energy.
Yes.
Then can you, volunteer to work with us on the Gender Talk? I said,
yes.
Why not? Okay. So that's how I also got started as a volunteer, because by then I was still in school. So I was only working once a week, so I don't miss my lectures, and it's after lectures. I think that's how I got to Mamara Circuit Village from the Gender Talk. So gradually, at some point now, I was contracted, because I worked, I think, for a year or two, because I was still also in school, schooling, and also.
So you had to balance,
have to balance.
All right.
So that's how I got to the village, and we became a team. We became a team, and I continued to work for the Gender Talk. We do co-hosting with Eva. We used to come to Advanced Youth Radio, and that grows my energy. And I was like, really, this is what I wanted. This is a space that I really wanted to be.
To roast the men.
Exactly. Not really to roast the men, but to roast the bad,
yes,
the perception
that they have towards women.
So that's how I got to, now becoming a team lead, because now I was moved from there to become now the team lead at Mamara Circuit Village, where we do a lot of things. It's not only the Gender Talk things that we do now, because we also generally Mamara Circuit Village create platforms and opportunities to amplify the voice of girls and women. We see these realities. We cannot run away from them.
Just from the name itself, it actually clearly explains everything.
So the name Mamara Circuit came because when you know Arabic, Mamara Circuit, there's the kelma, Al-Rujal Bugul Mara Circuit.
The Mara Circuit, yeah.
And that contributed to low esteem of women, by the way. Even girls in classes, sometimes they cannot speak, So that alone has limited how women or girls can express themselves, stand out and do things. Just because somebody can throw anything at you, it's a Mara Circuit and stuff. So Mamara Circuit Village came from a point of rejection also. And also for me, I believe it is, raising the self-esteem, the low self-esteem of women that we have been into for a very long time and still existing. Even women who are educated, they still go through these kind of things. Right?
I think we'll get back to that point of the women who are educated, because at the end of the day, they still get back to that same point. So what does feminism mean to you, or you being as a feminist?
Yeah. So feminism is so broad. There are a lot of feminists that are dealing with different issues. And also something that we really need to understand clearly. How feminism functions in Europe is not the same way it functions in Africa. We also have black feminism. How feminism maybe function in Kenya is not the same way in South
In
Sudan.
South Sudan,
because
yes.
our priorities differs. But the bottom line is feminism is looking for that sense of equality. Equality in the sense of access to resources, to be accepted for who you are, like not to be judged because you are a man or a woman. At some point also we are tempted because there's a lot of misconception.
Yes.
You get a lot of these backlashes about when you mention that you're a feminist. I always mention that I am a feminist, and you will see how people will begin to, what do you mean you're a feminist? Feminists are divorced people. These are single
They don't
mothers.
get married.
These are men haters. They don't get married. Feminists want to control. They want to compete. I get a lot of that. It doesn't scare me because I know.
But isn't that what they do?
What, feminism?
Yes.
It's not.
Like you'll
That's
see,
a very-
because already a feminist will say, I cannot be this. You can't marry me just to cook. There is more that I can do. And then because the man, you see, if you're married, that is already a feminist talking. You cannot I can't be submissive to you. We need to have shared equal rights. So do you think such a person will be able to get into such, like the society we're in, get married? Because, a Junubi man is going to tell you, you need to marry, you need to cook, you need to clean, you need to look after the kids. But I think a feminist cannot do that. So do you think feminists can get married?
Exactly. Feminists can get married. That's a very, I would say, shallow understanding of feminism.
Yes.
Because now you're shifting, you're going to gender roles.
Yes.
Yeah. Because cooking, taking care of the children, we perceive them as women jobs.
But these are the roles that feminists always keep talking about.
Exactly. I'm still coming there. Just
all right. Okay.
Yeah. So
yes.
There's a lot of misconception that I just mentioned, and now it shifts to the gender roles, the expectations that come with women doing things, and these are obligations, so to say.
Yeah.
Don't forget that we also operate in a patriarchal society, male-dominated. So feminism is a movement, but we also acknowledge that patriarchy exists. We have seen narrative where, because it's very historical in a women context, for example.
Yes.
Women, we are being obligated, we are expected to cook. It doesn't matter however much you are educated, if you have
need to be submissive.
career, you need to be submissive. But also for me, I see there's a misconception of submission.
Okay.
Because what do you mean? Because submission comes naturally. You cannot preach about submission. Submit to me, let me do it because I see you make sense as a man, as a husband. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of narrative around cooking. These are petty jobs. I always tell, for somebody that understands feminism, cooking, cleaning, making your bed as a man, or maybe changing the diapers of the kid, these are basic skills. It doesn't take anything away.
So it should be shared role.
Of course, it's not something that will take anything away from me. If I would ask, the things that we do as in cooking, cleaning, making the bed, cooking in the house, washing, all of this, what parts of our body do we use as women to do this work that the men do not have? What parts of our body do we use to cook that the men do not have?
But I think this takes us back to our culture and norms.
Exactly. And that's why we are saying cultures are good. Our cultures are really very good, but cultures are socially constructed. There's no man or woman that is born to cook. It's not by birth. So it's a skill that anybody can do. These things are basic skills. It's not even worth debating about it. Because it doesn't make sense for me to begin debating about cooking. It's something that you can really do. It doesn't take anything away from you.
You shouldn't say, I will not eat today because a woman has not cooked.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense. A responsible person,
because there are women, there are men even who don't enter the kitchen.
Exactly. The men, they cannot even serve themselves at some point. There are men who cannot serve themselves. Like for me, it's something that is weird, because if you can eat, why can't you cook? Like, what do you expect? It's not like you can eat and then you cannot cook. We have narrative. Sometimes men treat these things as isolated issues. I am a man, I cannot do this. But guess what? Go to the hotels. Men are cooking in the hotels. They are the one making the beds that we are sleeping. They are the one giving us the treatment. And some of these are married men. The same men that cooks in the hotel, when they go to their wives in the house, they sit cross-legged. I am a man, I'm not supposed to cook. You were cooking in the hotel.
So why can't you cook in the house?
Why can't you cook in the house for your kids? Be romantic. Have sense. I mean, it doesn't take anything away from you. It's
Yes,
a skills. It's a basic
basic
skills.
skill that everybody should
I
acquire.
have seen where some men suffered. Even there was this narrative that there were boys that were taken to study in the US. And then, of course, you see how sometimes they accuse us of having feminism as a Eurocentric idea. I will come back to that.
Yeah.
But you cannot cook, and then you are taken in this place. You don't go anywhere with your sister. You cannot cook even for yourself now. That's where you begin to see that you're stupid. Okay, sorry for using that word, but I mean, that's another way of seeing that you have not worked on yourself. Because you have food that you cannot prepare.
Because you are not taught.
Because you are not taught, and because you also embrace it. You also embrace it. I am a man. I am not supposed to do this.
All right. So, in a society like South Sudan, a society whereby we are driven by our cultures and norms, do you think there is space for feminists?
There is. I would still
Because I'm quite sure the men are going to come for you like this.
I will not still say
Yes.
all South Sudanese men has no sense. There are really men that has sense.
When you say have sense, now...
when I say have sense, I still would admit that there are South Sudanese men who can cook, who can take care of their families, who does not debate about this thing because they understand it. I know it's not a walk in a park for so many men because how we are being socialized. We are not blaming anyone. It's how we are being socialized, by the way, from home. Even when you're still a girl child, your mother will tell you, go to the kitchen. Your brother is playing football. They don't call for him. When your brother eats, they leave the plates there. Your mother will call the girl child, pick the plate, take it to the kitchen. And when these boys grow up and they marry, it's the same treatment they will give their women in their houses. So it's not a blame game, but it's also beginning to think differently and see that this is not Eurocentric.
So don't you think that it is the mothers that fail this boy child? Because nurturing the child, charity begins at home. And who take care of these children? It's the mothers, right? So don't you think that the fault is from the women themselves? They are the reason as to why the men are like that, culturally driven.
Because that's also how the women were socialized. The women are giving what they got. You see how it moves? We are not blaming even the men. What the men are delivering, especially those men, the elderly men and everybody that is very conservative with the culture and keep saying, because most of the time we are being accused, this is our culture. Yes, we acknowledge. But what is culture? This is something socially constructed. It becomes a norm because it's a practice. That means it can also be readjusted.
Yes.
With knowledge, when you begin to see the value of something, So culture is not static. Culture is not being born. Like, it's something that you cannot debate about that, okay, you cannot take it away from me, it's our culture. Sometimes I tell our other South Sudanese men, when you say not cooking or maybe beating your wife to discipline them, because there's that understanding that when you beat your wife, it's how to discipline them, it's our culture, is another way of saying we South Sudanese men are toxic. We are abusive, we can beat, we can kill.
Yeah.
Because what do you mean, a bad thing, a culture? Because we also have bad culture and good. I love our cultures. But I always begin to see what culture can I move with when I become a mother, or maybe now I am a sibling or I'm nurturing. What culture can I move with? Because it's not about saying culture is bad. There are cultures that are very good. For example, our South Sudanese culture has a lot of commonality. There are cultures that can unify you. There are some specific cultures that gives you value, as a human person. But then there are also other cultures that are bad. And they affect us on board, by the way. Sometimes men treat these issues as isolated issues, but they also affect them. Sometimes I ask men, the way you are treating your wife now, you are being very abusive, and the languages that you use around women are very nasty languages. Assuming somebody use it on your sister. Assuming somebody use this on your daughter. Because at some point, if you're not yet a father, you will become a father. So it's not really treating this as an isolated issue, because at some point, until it knocks your door, is when you begin to feel that it's bad.
So how do these men benefit from feminism? Do men also benefit from feminism?
By the way, feminism is not only for women. There are also men who are feminists. Also to clear, maybe there are people who have narrow understanding about feminism. Feminism is not just a woman thing. Any man that cares about their wives, any man that cares about, the sense of equality in a society, any man that cares about their mother, any man that cares about their daughter, they want their daughters not to be mistreated, is a feminist. We do not just have a language, because when we hear feminism, we think these are foreign things. It's not the way you mentioned that some people would say it's not our culture.
Yes.
Yeah? But there are some practices when you begin to relate, you will know this. For example, my mother.
Because now, as a man, I married you. I paid dowry and everything. So now you're saying you're a feminist. We have to share, like you're supposed to have the basic skills. So to my understanding, as a man, how am I benefiting from that? How am I going to benefit from? So it's better you stay in your house. I don't even pay any dowry, and I stay this side.
Dowry is another big thing. And,
Yes.
and dowry and feminism, it's not that in fact, issues of dowry, it's also being sponsored by the men. Now when they're negotiating about my dowry, it's my uncles talking. They don't bring my mother in. By the way, the people that charges the husbands that come to us
Are the fellow men. So it's
how
none of our,
dare-
it's not
our business. So let them sort out their issues. Today, when I decide that I want to get married, you will see my brothers will be calling trillion, and they are men. It's not women charging this. Even my mother will not be in that room for negotiation, for example. I don't know how your culture operates, but when you're negotiating about your marriage, do they get you in? Do they bring your sister in?
No.
So these are men. Can they sort out their issues?
So that they have the chance to say either we don't have to pay dowry or something like that.
Because also these issues of dowry, let me be personal, like it doesn't keep marriage. You can pay $1 trillion up on my head. That is not a guarantee for me to be treated well in that home, or it's not a guarantee that the marriage is secured and it is safe. Like these are different things. Even dowry and marriage, these are two different things.
So, to my own, when we go biblically, like when you go to the Bible and also we check it out, don't you think that the whole idea of feminism is against the biblical writings? Because when you read the chapters the scriptures very clearly.
Give me a chapter, then I relate.
I think in the beginning there, Genesis, in the creation, when you see the issue of Adam and Eve,
Okay.
Eve was actually created to be a companion to Adam. So what does that mean? It means that Eve is supposed to now be a partner and also be obedient to who? To Adam. So now if we come around with this thing of feminism and all that, don't you think we are actually kind of violating some of the scriptures?
Okay. It's very unfortunate that at some point also to keep the false privileges and also to continue to operate in a male-dominant society,
Yes.
we tend to use Bible as a hiding place. That is the misuse of the Bible. So
All right.
sometimes we want to use Bible as a hiding place, and when they explain submissiveness.
But you're coming
In
from the
Bible,
rib of Adam.
Yes, in the Bible, also the same Bible mention submissiveness. You know, a man is supposed to love, isn't it?
Yes.
And then a woman is supposed to
Submit, yes.
And then when you begin to interpret, because also no one of us witnessed, you see, Bible are also written by human beings. These are
So you want to
scriptures.
say the Bible was written by a man?
Most of the Bible writers are men. You see, Mark, who I only know of Deborah,
Ruth.
You can.
Esther.
That the majority of the Bible writers are men.
So they favor themselves.
Exactly. Like a man cannot write something about me. They don't know how I function, how I feel, how I am.
So what you're trying to say is maybe
So
the
what
rib
I'm
was
trying-
not taken from
what
Adam.
I'm trying to say is
Yes.
also that the Bible is also biased.
So the rib might not have taken from Adam.
The rib may not be taken
Eve
from
may
Adam.
have
It's
come with her own
it's
ribs.
another way of making us, who knows? Nobody. There's no experiments to test this thing and know their factor. We believe.
Yes.
We believe that God exists. That is a belief, isn't it? I mentioned earlier that I'm a Catholic.
Yeah.
But I do not have an authentic moral justification that even Jesus existed. But we believe because that is our religion. But then maybe, you see, sometimes you may think, when we go to theology, maybe you begin to think that maybe even the ribs is not taken from Adam. Let me tell you this. So it's another way of men really getting, the privileges they want to belittle us.
Yeah.
Yeah? Because, okay, we would believe that the ribs is taken from Adam and we are created, but how can you justify that now?
How can you exist through a rib?
Imagine.
All right, I think we get back to that. It needs a whole discussion. I think we'll get a break. And then when we get back, oh my God, this is interesting. Maybe the rib does not exist indeed. Welcome back, and the conversation is getting interesting, and the story is getting more deeper. So, my question is, do feminists get married?
Yes, feminists do get married.
Married to who?
To men. Feminists are human beings.
But they don't want men.
That is an assumption, I would say. It's a narrow understanding of feminism, because
Yes.
I don't know if somebody that understands feminism fully will not make that statement, because we have feminists who are mothers.
So how am I
Like
going
one
to?
of our team members is now a mother of 3.
Yes.
And still a very active feminist. For many that might know her. And there are so many of us who are married, So there is this narrow understanding of feminism, limiting feminism to marriage and stuff. But there's something that people do not understand that exists, or I think they understand and they skip it, is that patriarchy exists. Feminism is a movement.
Can you explain patriarchy?
Patriarchy is a system of a male-dominated society where a woman is being controlled.
Okay.
Yeah? A woman is being controlled, and it's very historic.
So why don't we just use patriarchy and then we let go of feminism?
Of course, now feminism is what...
Because you see, when we see
undo.
feminism, it makes it too female, and it makes it too, like, within the women.
It's also narrow understanding of still feminism.
Yes.
Because when you talk of a feminist, it's not only a woman.
Okay.
There are also men who are feminists. And feminism is not about, men and women only. There are feminists that tackle different things. It depends with that location. What are your priorities in your country, for example, as a feminist? Given our context in South Sudan, we see the abuses that women and girls go through, especially with our cultures. Some of our cultures, let me not say all the cultures, we have seen narrative of arranged marriages, we have seen narrative of forced marriages, we have seen narrative of women who are being killed by their husband. This happens a lot. So we operate given the priority in that particular place. Like feminism is big thing. There is ecofeminism.
So feminism is just like advocating for
advocating for
the rights,
for the rights of an individual, even.
But the feminism fight, because we see a lot of feminists that come out, their fight is always men have done this, men have done this. So other than blaming the men, do you think there is another angle at which we can actually look or tackle this issue? Because most feminists are coming out saying men are this, men are that. So is that the right angle? Is that how feminism is? Is that the definition of what feminism is?
That's not a definition of what feminism is, but I also want to ask you.
Yes.
Do you know that these things exist? Can a woman just come out and say, my husband has beaten me, or maybe something has happened? Can the woman just come out when the husband did not do it?
So how about the men that also women beat them?
They cannot talk about it. If they cannot talk about it, it's
will
business.
They also come out and say we are feminists because a man has beat me, a woman has beaten me?
Why are they not coming out? They're also supposed to come out. Like, women are not preventing men. If you're being beaten by your wife, you can speak for your right. So now that I'm deciding to speak for my right, I'm becoming self-aware, I know my worth, doesn't overshadow me or begin to think of a man. A man is also a human being. They have rationale. If you're not treated well, speak about it.
Yes. So
I am not defending myself because I want to work it for a man. So I am a human being.
Okay. So how are you going to work with a man that you are already having resentment towards?
I would still say that is misconception, because feminists don't hate men. But the fact that
the people who broadly come and say,
when you're treating an issue, you treat that problem. You don't look at the person.
But most feminists attack.
If a man has beaten me,
yes,
he has beaten me because it is wrong. What I am coming out to say that it's wrong to be beaten. And now that I've mentioned, because beating as such is wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's not that I have resentment on a man. We cannot live without men. We need men. Men are our fathers. They are our brothers. But the fact that now I am coming out to speak of the wrong things that the men do, and some of them do it repeatedly, doesn't make me a male hater.
All right.
Yeah. And also because I have decided to speak for my right, I have begun to see my worth. I want, my space as a woman does not mean I hate a man. You see what men fear about feminism is taking away the privileges from them that they have been enjoying for years. One of the privileges, of course, now the male-dominated society, we have talked of these gender role things, the control that a man have over a woman. You just mentioned that, you are a man a man is supposed to be the head of a family.
Yes.
He's in charge. You need to respect them. It is a privilege that comes with it. So when you find somebody, but the women carry the heaviest load, by the way. Some women carry the heaviest load, and they cannot talk about it. So when now a woman who is self-aware, because feminism also looks at, creating a sense of self-aware and integrity.
Can we say that, I'm sorry to say this, but most of the feminists do not know exactly what they're advocating for? Because you'll find that a lot of them are coming out of anger, whatever that has happened to them.
Are you a feminist?
I can't say I'm a feminist, but I can
how
say...
do you understand now feminists are not even talking the right thing if you're not one?
But that's why I'm saying, that means the moment I am angry, I can become a feminist.
That's misconception still. That means you don't have idea about feminism.
Yes.
You don't even get it.
Let me give you a scenario. I think 3 weeks back, a couple of feminists in Uganda actually filed a lawsuit. They wanted polygamy to be erased. So monogamy would be the thing. So imagine now they're taking big steps such as this, whereby feminists are actually campaigning for men to marry one woman. So that means that if you are polygamous, it will not actually align with the feminist roles. Don't you think this is actually beheading, like making the heads of women do, like changing culture in a very speedy and a rapid way? And then we well know that feminism is something that is Western, not African.
I'll repeatedly keep telling you that feminism is not one thing, and we need to stop treating people's personalities as in feminism.
If a group of feminists came out and actually are advocating for this,
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying the approach to feminism depends on the priority of that institution, that country, that group of people. We can still have a group of feminists who are not doing the right thing.
That's what I want to understand. So anybody can become a feminist in your different angle.
Exactly.
So what is the umbrella that combines, like unites all feminists? How can I know that this is a feminist? Because if I am only going to react because of my feelings and say this is what has happened to me, now let me become a feminist because a man actually beat me up. That means let me start advocating against what? Gender-based violence. I didn't go to school because my father refused to pay for my school fees. Now let me become a feminist because I am advocating for... You get? Is there an umbrella that something in common that feminists must actually be having for us to identify that if we see this character, we are able to identify that this person is a feminist and they are advocating for this? Is there something common like that can unite? Because we don't want something like everybody is coming out with their mixed campaign. They're coming up with their own ideas. I am doing this, I am doing that, I'm a feminist and all that. Could we actually have something?
Okay, I totally understand where you are arriving from, where you're coming from. But still, when somebody does not understand feminism and do not also know what is the priority in a given, because how we operate into the context that fits. For example, now us as Mamara Circuit Village, we are in South Sudan. Our realities are not like people in Uganda, for example. Our realities are not like people in the United States and all these places that, feminism as a movement exists. Our realities are different. So from people who are also not feminism, they often get it wrong when they begin to generalize. Because you can function in a feminist society, given your context and your mission. What are your priorities? What do you want to address? You cannot address all the issues. And it's also not good to be judgmental because one feminist in Uganda did something and then you begin to overshadow and then you begin to generalize. There is this stereotype about feminism or feminists, these are, single mothers, for example. But the questions that people also don't, ask, how can a woman become a single mother without a man?
Yes.
That's also biasness. Because for me to become a single mother, that means I had an intercourse with a man. So in most cases, the men are not mentioned anywhere. But also for people who have very shallow understanding of feminism, they would always think it's about men, it's not
Because
only
the
about
women
men.
make it more of a men movement, like a man movement.
That is still generalization when you say the women.
Yes.
Because there are women who are married, they have men, they have children that are men.
I'm actually saying that because most feminists, at least I've actually get to listen to their conversations, they are online, and of course met some, but you'll find that there is that element of always a man. A man is there.
And then a man is there. Do men do those things or not? Because I cannot come up and begin mentioning something about a man that did not do anything. But do you still believe that there are also nasty bad things that the men do to the women?
So do blaming the men, will it change?
It's not like blaming the men, it's bringing out the reality. It's an advocate. It is like communicating. It's not that you're blaming, because when you say blame, it means they're not doing it.
Yeah, sure.
So these are things, because if my husband hasn't beaten me, or he hasn't, I don't know, leave me and the kids in the house, why would I come out and begin talking about it?
Yeah. All right. Let's look into some of, now I want to understand the angle of feminism through the organization that you are part of. What are some of the activities that you carry out that actually portray the acts of feminism within South Sudan? Because I'm quite sure among the few that I've heard, Mama Rasakit is one of the feminist organizations. And I'm quite sure there's a lot of activities that they do carry out. Can we actually have some of that? What activities they actually do, so that we can identify? Maybe that one can actually break down some of the elements that I am kind of looking for. Yes.
That's why I was mentioning earlier.
Yes.
That it takes different shape and priorities and context and the needs in that particular place.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, our context in South Sudan cannot be compared to any context in the world. And our approach to feminism, it's not that we hate men, we are divorcees and stuff. It's not about men, but we still also acknowledge that there are a lot of things that are culturally, structured, and it's affecting the girl child. That is for sure. We all know when you are in South Sudan. So like for our activities, we have 3 active programs that are running.
Yes.
One is the feminist community building. So we do a lot of training. We do a lot of training for young women and girls
to become feminists.
On self-awareness. We are not mobilizing people to become feminists.
Okay.
It's not a must to be a feminist. And you can also do feminist work, but you're not a feminist. It's not that we are blowing our horns and clapping hands, convincing people to become a feminist. We are not there to get followers. But when you think the situation, our work that we do suits you, you're welcome.
Already if you are training me to do, yes.
Listen, until you get it right, you will ask a lot of questions. Just be patient. So the feminist community building is also, we are looking at self-awareness, like educating a girl child to become more self-aware, raise their self-esteem, let them see their worth, let them see their worth in the direction of leadership. For example, we have seen a lot of gaps that where women sits behind. There are issues of gender mainstreaming. Now today, if I give birth, I do not have a very secure environment, or maybe even some job would not allow me to be working because I am expecting, for example. There are field cases, we have women who lose their job, who lost their jobs, and just because of your situation. We also want to see how I can be accepted as I am a woman. Getting pregnant is not a blockage for me to work. Can you create an environment where I can maybe nurse my child and continue to work? Because these are 2 different things. Now that I am a breastfeeding mother doesn't mean I cannot deliver. My head still functions. So also raising the self-esteem, like women need to become self-aware, because women who are not self-aware get drowned, even their dreams, their aspiration. And women are great contributors. We cannot also go anywhere as South Sudanese if the women are not in these sectors, if the women are not participating meaningfully in politics, in decision making. So what we do, we do a lot of self-awareness, self-understanding, because if you do not understand yourself, you do not understand your worth as a woman, you cannot deliver. It's not about men. So we do really, tangible things that are meaningful, that can contribute to the growth of South Sudan. Also looking at building a network where women can do things together. We have known of the situation where South Sudan is being divided on the tribal lines.
Yes.
Okay? Maybe my husband is from this ethnic group, I am not supposed to associate with you just because my husband is from... We do not want to reason in that manner. So we want to build a very authentic society where everyone else feel value and the women can equally contribute. We women will become more self-aware of themselves. You understand yourself, you know your worth, you know your importance, maybe in policy making, decision making. You see? So that's what we do a lot with one of our program. And we also have what we call the Suksukna. So the Suksukna is a beading project. And beads is something that's used across South Sudan.
Yes.
As a feminist institution, we have envisioned that we have a lot of women who have not gone to school, and they are really creative. Somebody makes something beautiful like this, then we begin to see value. How can they benefit from their skills? So we train women on making beads, and these beads are being sold out. They are being hired by individuals for baby showers, for shoots. Other people buy this corset, like the Dinka corset, like a whole shirt for weddings. We sell them when somebody who is a foreigner come to South Sudan and they want something to identify with the South Sudanese thing. They can buy these beads. We make some of them in flags, something really for South Sudan integrity and also the cultural heritage. So the Suksugna is one of the big industry that also help women to earn a living. It's not about being in school, having a career. It's when you can earn a living. So that's what we do as when somebody see the work that we do as a feminist institution, it will also somehow will make them rethink about their sense of generalization about feminism. Oh, you are male haters. Oh, you are divorcees, which doesn't make sense. In fact, if I could mention, there's no relationship between polygamy and feminism. These are I cannot connect that. Because also, maybe from a feminist line, personally, I'm not against polygamy. If anybody
I think that goes back to your answer whereby you say the feminism depends in different societies.
Yes, exactly. I cannot say polygamy is bad when an individual or when a lady feels like she's comfortable in a polygamy. Let it be a choice. Don't push me into polygamy. So if I see maybe a man can take, because also something that sometimes the men get it wrong, although the men do not want us to call them.
Yes.
You want to marry 6 women that you cannot even cater for the needs of the children. You cannot handle. Why can't you just have one that you can handle? It's not about getting 1,000 women that you can. Back in the days, because they will always debate.
Yes.
Our parents used to have a lot of women and they were living together. Our parents were sensible. Most of the men in this generation has become so useless. You see, you leave this woman here, you go get another one pregnant, and you want to call that polygamy. That's not polygamy. It's nasty. Polygamy is, I think a man that needs to have a polygamous family need to be morally grounded, need to be a leader, because now you have 3, 4, 5 women. You need to have qualities of a leader. You need to have the resources. That's how our grandparents were living peacefully in a very polygamous life, because, children are there being taken care of. I have my home, we are peaceful. But this generation, people want to mention, polygamy, feminists are talking about, they cannot even handle themselves. Some of these men that talk about polygamy cannot even afford their own life. And you want to bring someone's daughter to suffer. Why? So when a feminist come out to give this kind of things, they'll be like, hey, you see, you are against. It's not being against the act, but can you handle what you want to?
All right. I think let's actually also take it to the point that today, if you're given a chance to actually, because right now there are different movements. We're seeing there are groups of women who are saying we are women empowerment group. Others are saying we are for emancipation. Women need to be equal to men. And then there is feminism. Which one do we need? Because as a society, I think women need to pick one thing and we get it generalized. If it is feminism, let's actually focus into what? Into campaign and programs that will align with feminism. If it's empowerment, because I think the grounds and the genesis of it started with empowerment. And that is even our mothers, our great, they were always fighting for empowerment. But now here comes 2020, 25 and all that. We are hearing women all over media saying, I am a feminist. Which one is this one again? Where is it coming from? Can we focus on one thing and see that there is an achievement before we can actually divert to another thing?
I still would ask you not to generalize things, because we cannot just handle one thing. It's what a free world.
Because now here's the movement is different.
Yes, the movement are different and people have rights.
And then which one can the men have? Because now they are confused. We give women empowerment, they are coming with feminism.
We are not talking for the men.
Yes.
The men can also decide. Men are also human beings. We are not working for men. We are not working to please
okay,
men.
now let's say the president today comes and says, you know what, you women sit down and do what? Let's agree. Which one do you want? Do you want to be feminist or you want to be empowered?
You are taking us to the world of imagination and fiction that doesn't make sense really. Because I want us to make sense of this conversation.
Yes.
Because when you begin to generalize, there's somebody talking. You cannot just do one thing. Maybe those people have their own agenda, and then you cannot mix it with Mama Rasakit Village. I am talking as Mama Rasakit Village.
Feminist and women empowerment and
maybe
can they work together and just say we are all one class?
Okay, that is your thinking. That's very subjective.
So you mean they cannot work together?
I'm not saying it's possible. We are working with other women organizations. Like, it depends on what you really want. It's not a hypothetical thinking of like, okay, can you come together?
Because I think this is where the confusion. This is where the confusion is coming from. Because we were still understanding when we say there is women empowerment, women need to be empowered, they need to be equal to men, and then women come back with feminists. They're like, now which one is that one? Let's try to explain which one is that. But
if you have an institution of women that are doing some things that is confusing, you can also call them here and have a talk with them.
I know. All right.
Because now I don't want to talk for another institution that I have no idea
Yes,
about.
all right. Let's catch a break. And when we get back, I think there is still more for us to know. And as well, you can give us your suggestions right there. Should we just be one?
Feminism is not about not cooking.
That's what I want to understand now. Here's the thing. I can cook, I can do all that. So what other thing can I be advocating from a man for me to be a feminist? Apart from that, because now if I say I can cook and do that, what else? Why am I again complaining? What is that thing that again can make me a full feminist if it's not these small gender, petty gender roles and all that? Is there any other thing like a woman can actually advocate for from a man?
I mentioned leadership. I mentioned a lot of things. I mentioned leadership. I've mentioned career. I've mentioned contribution in decision.
So the thing is, why the thing is, you see, these are things that we're already asking from men who have already been nurtured from different backgrounds already by the same women. You get. So how do you expect these men to wake up one day and say, you know what, I need to get off some of the roles and then allow this woman to do this? Yet this man was raised by a woman who told him, your wife is supposed to respect you. Your wife is supposed to do this. Your wife is supposed to cook for you. Women are the same people that are fighting women. You see, since childhood, they are teaching you, you need to cook well, because if you don't cook well, your man will not what? You will not get married. You will not do this. Is this how you're going to perform at your husband's house? Is this how you're going to talk? You see, you are taught from childhood. So don't you think we need to give men, like we need to give this society enough time for us to accommodate this? Because I feel like the speed is too fast, or you think that's the right speed that we can actually take from? Because if it is something that is not against the men, so that means that the mothers, the women at home, needs to be taught that, you know what, as you are nurturing and raising your child, you need to let them know that there are some social skills that they're supposed to learn, and these girls are being taught all these skills not to be perfect for their husbands. These are basic skills that they will use for themselves, you get. So
I think I also mentioned that
yes
about the boy child and stuff. The women actually contribute to this a lot.
Yes.
Because the same sons that they raise are the same sons that are mistreating their wives, and they have kids, and it goes like that. That's why I was talking of socialization. That's how we are being socialized. And the women, since they're the key in the house, now they begin to pass these batons.
So actually my thing is, I think the trainings that are needed is not even the trainings of the women more. The men are the ones that need the training more than the women. Because in a situation where we are having problems right now is that most of the organizations are teaching women, these young girls, you need to speak out, you need to be a public speaker, you need to do this. At the end of the day, these same girls are going to marry men who are not trained on how to treat them. So don't you think that these organizations need to really look into nurturing the boy child more? Because you need to prepare the boy child first, and then you prepare the girl child. Now here's the thing, why there is a problem, why the women feel like they are not being understood. Because you have already trained me that, a man is not supposed to disrespect me, he's supposed to do this. And then this man, you have not trained him that you're not supposed to do this to this woman. Do you think already there is conflict?
Different people handle different things. Maybe I and you can come up with that institution also for men empowerment.
Right? Yeah, because you see, if everybody is saying we need to empower the girl child needs to be to be taught how to present themselves. They need to speak out their voices.
I totally
they need
admit that
yes.
some of these men are doing these things because they are not aware, but majority of these men are aware. But it's just that I'm saying they are not comfortable. That's how they're being socialized. The man knows that it will not kill me when I cook.
Yes.
Just because they are being socialized in a manner, it's something that you can really unlearn. There are things that you can learn and unlearn. So I would not assume, maybe I am being subjective, but I know most of these men do.
I don't think that is right. The fact that, let me give an scenario. You told us the story of how you were in a single school. You faced hard times actually being in a mixed school. It wasn't an easy thing to let go because you already used to what? Being in a single sex school. You get? So I think it's a habit is not something that you just wake up overnight and say that, you know what, I'm going to leave this. Even alcoholics, they don't do that. They have to give themselves time, process,
I'm not disputing that
and
we
all
also
that.
need to raise the boy child and stuff, but also given our context in South Sudan, the gap between the men and the women is huge. I don't know, maybe your analysis, but in terms of leadership, representations, empowerment, and stuff, the gap between women and men is really huge. So we are also at institutional level, we are trying to work, to fill that gap, like really to make women or girls more self-aware so they know their worth, but not to fight the men. We are not training girls to fight the men. We are training young mothers how they can raise their children to be lovely kids. How you can begin to fix these things also at a family level. But we are not saying that we are training these young women to go and fight the men. That's not what
During
we're
these
doing.
trainings, do you also include the boy child?
We don't need to.
Now you see, you don't need to. So
it's not our approach. So we still also believe there are other opportunities that handle the boy child. The only way we can reach out to men,
I think that's an assumption.
That's how we have programmed our institution.
Yes, and that's an assumption because you're assuming there are other programs that are meant for boys, for the men.
Yeah, it can cover them. Obviously. Because also women have been, suffering for all this time. No one thought of the women. So now that women are becoming self-aware and beginning to feed themselves somehow in the society to find their full, men are always already feeling.
I remember you saying that if you are actually dealing with that issue, you look into the issue, you don't actually look through outside the issue. So if men are the issue, why don't we actually go for the men?
I'm not saying it's bad not to go for the men.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's bad not to.
Because here's the thing. Let's give an example. Today you empower these ladies, just like I said, you empower them. They become already they are going to look at all, just like the reason as to why today we are having you in Mamara Circuit, you're able to discover your voice is because you saw something that happened to a certain friend, a girl child, a woman out there, domestic violence and all that. You get, that is what actually made you to believe that, you know what, if I actually stand for this, maybe there will be change. So don't you think that when these women also are empowered like this, they are going to be in the same line with you? They're not going to think about these men need to be trained. Who is going to, these boys need to be taught this?
The women have been suffering all this time. They are being kept in the houses. They have been snatched, taken to marry and stuff on the watch of the men. What did the men do to help the women? So now that the women are trying to help themselves, why is it a problem?
Because they don't know.
Intention.
All right.
Like it has been happening on the watch of the men. When the women are being pulled from classes, young girls are taken for marriage and stuff. Men were there. What did they do? Now that the woman is working for herself, why is it a problem?
All right. Sour. Now, men, there is no way I can defend you.
Okay. So, I mean, I think this part needs to be recorded because We have been, like, the women have been suffering.
Yes.
For years, we see this. But the men are there.
Oh, you are not recording?
Now,
Ah.
so bring that question and then I hand it. Because I want
What
you
was
to
the
go
question?
out. You were saying,
Yes.
are we not leaving the boy child
The boy child behind, yeah.
And then, yeah. And then you can just say that and then I know how to cover that.
All right. Okay. We have seen a lot of organizations stand in for women. There are girl empowerment, women empowerment programs. Don't you think that also the men need to be empowered?
Yeah, thank you.
Mm.
We get that a lot as Mama Circuit Village, as an institution. We
Yes.
get that a lot. And we are not saying it's bad to educate the boy child. We are not saying it's bad to also empower men.
Yeah.
But given our context in South Sudan, we all know the gaps that exist between the boy child and given our culture and everything. It's a reality for itself that happens. So we get this a lot that, okay, we are leaving the boy child and then we are empowering these women. They will become hostile at some point because the men are not aware. But for me, I would still say that women have been going through a lot for over the years. We see them how they suffer in the cultural dimension, how they're being abused on the watch of the men. The men are there. They did not do anything. So we are not working for men. We are working for ourselves. Like everything that has been happening for over the years have been happening on the watch of the men. We have not seen men getting up that, okay, let us decide not to beat our women. Let us decide not to pull our kids from the school. Let us keep our daughters in school. We have not seen. Now that a woman is beginning to stand up for herself, like me now getting up and say, I have chosen myself, Jackie, I don't want to be abused, it becomes a problem. Why is it that it's becoming a problem now? Yet we are being abused on the watch of the men and none of the men did anything. So you see what I'm saying? So what we are trying to say is that we are not leaving the men aside, but all the issues that we are addressing has been happening for years on the watch of the men and they did nothing. So now that we are standing for ourselves and we have chosen ourselves, it shouldn't be a problem. Let the men sort out their issues because they know it is bad. As a father, when you beat your wife, it bleeds, some of them die, or I don't know, you know it's bad. That act is bad. But it happens on the watch of other men. They don't do anything about it. Just because now I've decided to stand for another woman, should it be a problem? I'm just being self-aware, like enough is enough, I'm tired. I need a space, I want to be humanized. That's the point. It's not that it's bad. We're also teaching women, by the way, like the young women, how to nurture their children to be lovely kids. Because some of the men that we struggle with today were spoiled by their mothers.
Mothers, yes.
You see, these, senseless boys that we are struggling with, they did not get, they did not get it from home. Because you cannot expect now a man in his 30s to begin to learn some of these things when their mother doesn't. So now the kind of women that we are building also to cultivate this to their children in the house. When you have a boy child, let them know how to love. Let them look at their, sisters, siblings who are girls with passion. Let them see that it's important to do things with my sister. My sister is also a human being. When this boy grows up and become a man, he will take care of his wife.
But you know that we all are not perfect.
Exactly.
Yes. So they have their faults. And don't you think there is a second chance that can be given to them?
We are not fixing anything for any man. We are fixing our own problem now. Like the men do this and it's very intentional. Patriarchy has been existing for years. We see them in our homes. We see narrative where...
If they want to change, let them change.
So if they want to change,
if they don't want to change,
it's their business.
It's their business.
Yeah.
But how are we going to be in a society whereby you're already saying it's their business and they're already saying even it's none of our business? Already
we have been in this society, the same society, and we have been abused in this same society, and they are there. What did they do? That's the question.
So the fact that they didn't do anything.
Yeah, that we are not working for them. So if they think it's wrong for your daughter to be abused, begin with yourself as a man. Maybe you begin to have some sense and treat your wife with love. I don't know. So it's really them, because when we were talking of dowry issues.
Yes.
It's them that discuss these issues of dowry. Do they think it's important to pay dowries? If they don't think it's important, let them work on themselves. Like, we cannot work for men because we have our own problems.
Problems, yes, that they don't even care about.
Yes.
Okay. All right. To all the girls, to all the women that cannot actually speak for themselves, they feel like if I say this, I am being disobedient, I will be actually cast out of the family, or do this. So what do you have for them?
Yeah, we have a lot of young women and girls,
Yes.
even women in their marriages.
Yes.
They're scared. That's low self-esteem.
True.
Because if you're doing something that you know it has no harm, you know, like you're doing literally also for you to have your space, it's not the wrong thing. So as at Mama Resakit Village, we
Yes.
always do a lot of self-awareness training, like for them to begin to because
Realize
they
their
need,
potentials,
to realize
yes.
their potential, to begin to humanize also themselves. Because if you have not prioritized yourself, no one else will come and do it for you. So I would still say that we have a chance
Yes.
to see our usefulness as women. It's very important. We are equally important. We are not saying we want to be like men, because there's no way we want to be like men. Like there's no way we can really be men. We need to accept ourselves, and we need to know that we are very potential beings, equally as the men. If I was asking some young women at some point, I said, some of you that did medicine, how many years? They said 6. I said, now when you're doing medicine for 6 years, do they reduce the age, the years for the men, or you all go for the 6 years if you are to graduate?
Yes.
So it's also like a girl child or a woman or a young woman, any woman outside, they begin to realize your potential, know that you're important. I know the society throws a lot just because of how we are being structured. Maybe we are working there slowly. So it's just begin to think positively about yourself and know that you can do it.
Yes. All right. Now, I know this is going to be a little bit of the discussion. For somebody, are you in a relationship?
Yes.
For the person that you're in a relationship with, don't you think sometimes they get scared? They'll be like, now this woman is saying all men are, because you've been using that again. They say the sensible men. Don't you think the person will actually kind of get scared? They'll be like, the person that, the person understands, he's also a feminist.
He's not a feminist, but he respects feminists. He's
all
also
right.
somebody that value women.
Yes.
And I don't want to convince him to be a feminist.
He will choose.
He will choose where he wants to belong. But it's just that I don't want to be stepped on, and I will not dare to step on somebody.
Yes.
Okay? So he is a son and also raised by a mother.
Yes.
A mother was very present in his life. He's having siblings that are daughters. So sometimes we can just have friendly conversation. I do not want to force, because when he got me, I was already a feminist.
Yes. So he understood what exactly.
He knew where he's getting himself, and
Yes,
it's not a wrong
yes.
place to be. That's why I'm saying not all South Sudanese men are senseless.
All right. With that, I can see the look. Let's go for a break. It has been a privilege, Jackie. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I look forward having more conversation about this. And for all the women out there, your voice is heard. Your voice will be heard. If in case you haven't actually yet realized it, all you need to is just discover yourself, believe in yourself, and then you'll get there. And for those ones who have unanswered questions, you can as well drop in the comment sections, because Jackie will be going through them. Through them, yes, she will be answering you and all that. And thank you so much. And we look forward also having you one more time. And maybe I think next time we will now have a man here, and we see how we get into a broader discussion about this. Remember that feminism is not a fight against men. It's a fight for women to be women. Women to be respected, to be equal, and also to enjoy the equal rights that men do have. My last question is that, do you think, I think this goes now to the legal to the legal aspect. Do we need laws that can actually be put in place? Because you can see that most of the legal frameworks, especially the South Sudan laws, they are not actually inclusive of the women. It's actually right now that the women are now working on the Women Charter, and which has not yet actually been the Moboto Protocol and the Women Charter is some of the statutes that they are working on. So, and also the cultural aspects of it. Do you think we need to revisit all these laws and we put women inclusive?
I think I would not say that our laws are totally offside because still the opportunities that exist for women and they don't see it.
Yes.
There is this misunderstanding of youth being men.
Yes.
Youth, we have the youth league, you know, there are other opportunities that already is out there for youth and young women can grab it. I think that's another opportunity. We have the bill, the anti-GBV bill.
Yes, yes.
That has not been worked on, but it is there, it exists. Also, us at the level of institution, we have been pushing for that bill because it's a bill that will cover everybody. It addresses the issues of violation to all genders. So that's how women can also be covered. I would not say we need, because it's not a fight that we are fighting men, it's not it. But we want to have our freedom as women. I don't want to be judged because I'm a woman. I don't want to be subjected on something just because I'm a woman. I did not ask to be born a woman. So allow me function as I am. And we also do not want men to think for us. Because sometimes men tend to think for us, you are a woman, you are supposed to do this. Let me function. Just leave me to function. That's all what we are asking for. Don't speak for me. We don't speak for men. We don't tell men on how to behave. Because it's a free world, we want a sense of where everybody feel valued and humanized. We want to write our stories by ourselves because we know how to feel as a woman, you know. So it's just basically, it's not a competition. It's just basically looking for a ground where everybody
We can be
feel
equal, yes.
valued and equal, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Jackie Ben, and it has been great having a greater conversation with you. My name is Lola Chapi. Enjoy this episode.